I secretly married a Muslim woman. Backstory. I, white, Christian, male, 32, married an incredible woman, brown, Muslim, female 30. Growing up in a small town in rural Texas, I never imagined that my life would lead me to where I am today. My town, with a population of about 500, was deeply conservative, and most people, including myself, followed a traditional path: school, work, church, and eventually settling down with someone who shared the same background. But life, as I found out, has a way of surprising you. I left home early, dropping out of high school to work full-time. The idea of college or a career never appealed to me. I just wanted to make a living and enjoy the freedom of being young. At 18, I moved to the city and started working at a local garage. The pace of city life was exhilarating, and I found myself blending in with a crowd that was vastly different from the folks back home. One of my coworkers introduced me to a small convenience store that sold discounted cigarettes and beer. The store was run by a friendly Muslim family from Bangladesh. The first time I stepped inside, I noticed a girl about my age working behind the counter. She was shy, spoke broken English, but had the kindest eyes I had ever seen. I didn't think much of it at first, but every time I went back, we'd chat a little more. Over time, I realized that I was starting to look forward to these visits more and more. Her name was Aisha. As our conversations deepened, I learned that she was the daughter of the store's owner. Despite our differences, religion, culture, language, something about her drew me in. I realized that my preconceived notions about people from different backgrounds were completely wrong. Aisha was not just a Muslim girl. She was smart, funny, and had a heart of gold. We started meeting outside the store, just as friends at first. But the more time we spent together, the stronger our connection grew. We had to keep our relationship secret, of course. I knew my family back home wouldn't understand, and she feared the reaction of her community. But none of that mattered when we were together. 4 months into secretly dating, I couldn't hold back my feelings any longer. One evening, after dinner, I blurted out that I loved her and asked if she would be my girlfriend. The look on her face, first shock, then a smile that could light up the darkest room, was everything. She said yes, and we began a relationship that was both beautiful and challenging. Half a month later, I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. The connection we shared felt too right to let go. We drove to our favorite spot by the river, and I nervously proposed with a simple ring I had saved up for. Her eyes filled with tears, and she said yes. It was the happiest moment of my life. Marrying in a small courthouse an hour outside the city, with only the two required witnesses present. It was simple, but it felt perfect. For a month, we kept our marriage a secret, continuing our lives as if nothing had changed. But, as it often happens, secrets have a way of coming out. 2 weeks after our wedding, someone in her family discovered the truth. Aisha's CPA noticed her last name had changed and dug into public records, eventually spreading the news to her entire community. That night, she called me in tears, afraid of what her family would do. I rushed over to her house, expecting the worst, but was met with something entirely different: hugs, smiles, and a warm welcome. Her family, surprisingly, was supportive, happy that she had found someone who truly loved her. We moved in together, got a house, and a few months later, she became pregnant with our first child. Life was good, and our love only grew stronger. When we finally visited my hometown, I was nervous about how people would react, but to my amazement, they welcomed Aisha with open arms. My father, who I feared might be the most resistant, was kind and accepting. Our differences in race, religion, and language didn't matter. What mattered was that we loved each other. 7 years passed, filled with ups and downs, sickness and health. But through it all, our love never wavered. Aisha gave birth to a beautiful, healthy son, and we continued to build our life together. Religion never became a barrier for us. We respected each other's beliefs and focused on raising our son in a home filled with love, understanding, and mutual respect. Looking back, I realize how much I've grown as a person. Marrying Aisha was the best decision I ever made, and I'm grateful every day for the life we've built together.